Hello!
Your head's really veiny.
I know,
Weeping
hello.
punch pustules.
Yes, hello.
Oh,
And welcome to episode 89 of the Chronicles of Nidum, run by us here at Dice of the Beholder and streamed, though I don't know why he keeps us around, on the wonderful Heavyweight RPG. Yes,
For me,
hello.
that's why.
It is, yes, just entirely for you.
I am the talent.
And possibly because we now have baby cam to draw in viewers.
That's honeycomb.
That'll be on in a moment. Before everyone else is on screen, though, however, again, as always, a word about our sponsors. First and foremost, we have the wonderful sponsor of all of the Dungeons & Dragons and TTRPG content of Heavyweight RPG, Loki Battle Mats. They're an award-winning UK-based TTRPG accessory creator. There are many books and battle mats, little, big, giant sizes, and their modular book sets are full of amazing artwork and an awesome backdrop to any tabletop game. If you are interested in finding out more, please search Loki Battlemat, L-O-K-E, on Facebook or visit lokibattlemats.com. The link is in chat to view their amazing artwork and shop their physical maps, or pop over to Drive-Thru RPG where you can find their digital ones as well. Our second sponsor, as always, is still the wonderful Blink Dog Dice. They're a small dice maker based in Cardiff. You can, if you want to go searching, click on the link in chat, or find amazing examples of their work available on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Blink Dog Dice, all one word, for all social media platforms, and their shop as well on Etsy. Go show them some love and tell them we sent you. Third official sponsor, or official sponsor of the channel, again, is the wonderful, amazing Sirenscape. Thanks as always for the amazing atmosphere and music. You can add the sounds you will hear tonight, and more
tonight.
hear tonight to your games when you download the Sirenscape desktop or mobile app. The app is free, and it also comes with 20 sound sets that are included just to get you started. You don't even need to register. So please check out sirenscape.com to find out more, because epic games need epic sound. Sponsors are done. Before we go into it, though, this channel is all about giving to charity. In the charity streams that Heavyweight RPG or Heavyweight Gaming has done over the last few years, we've raised, I believe, £6,000 for different charities. You're muted.
something like, yes.
This is less of a charity stream that is going to be going on. However, Millie has decided to take it upon themselves to go through an amazing punishment, which, considering the state on your thigh at the moment, I bet you're looking forward to it. But yes, Millie's going to be running or doing the
Tough Mudder Half on the 20-something of August. Can't remember the date.
Yeah. Is
With
raising
my
money for
mother.
Mind, I believe.
It is.
Cool. Has already smashed the original £100 target she set for fundraising, but the link is now in chat. So if you can give a few pennies, give a few pounds, obviously to that amazing cause, click on the link, and then afterwards join our Discord or Heavyweight's Discord, and I'm sure you'll see lots of pictures of Millie soaking wet, covered in mud, crying because no one can get up a slippery slope. Don't look at me like that.
I'm going to be fine.
Yes. You can just throw.
I get injured. I get injured just walking down the street, so I think
yes,
taking risks is maybe better for me.
Players and a baby cam. Yes. Say hi, everyone.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Oh, look at his little smile. Oh.
He's just had his bottle.
And there's Waffle behind you being like, am I precious too?
Yes, you are. Even if you did wake the baby up earlier.
Risky.
Is everyone ready to get into some D&D?
I am, but I don't have my character sheet open yet.
I am, but
really
I
quick
can't
recap.
open my character sheet.
Why can't
It
you
is
open
not
your character
possible.
sheet?
Sorry?
Why can't you open your character sheet?
So my payment details expired, which means that my subscription didn't renew, which means that my D&D Beyond that that D&D Beyond now requires me to deactivate all but 6 of my 85 characters, and I can't do that. But they also won't just let me tell them my new payment detail.
Yeah, that's something that's going to take about a week to fix.
Hooray!
That happened to me.
Well, then I don't know my character details. I'm just going to have to tell you what's on the dice, and you'll have to look at my character sheet.
I can do that for you.
Thank you.
That's okay.
I may dip in and out. I'll still be able to talk, but I move around with him.
That's fine. The baby.
The baby.
Is everyone ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, last time on the Chronicles of Nidum, very little actually happened because we all decided that talking about the Nine Hells was not as much fun while we felt like we were sitting in them because it was too hot for life, so we cut the stream short. However, last time in the Chronicles of Nidum, you did wake after obviously the revelation of discovering Oriana that your parents were still alive. Not only that, but you in fact had a little sister hiding in the mountains to the south of Shalem, the south of the Empire. Upon waking the next day, you had a conversation with your father, where your father was the first of your family members, in fact, to ask for the crown instead of demand it, and agreed not to push, but would ask that once you had used it, and once you'd gone off and been the hero, you could perhaps return it to him later. You then spoke to your mother, who confirmed her worries about you, for you, confirmed a potentially prophetic dream she had had about someone with a glowing red sword, clad all in black, kind of trying to attack you sometime in your future. And also her worries for you with your link to the Inquisitor that your friends don't quite know about just yet. You also then were warned that you would have to leave immediately, as the Inquisitor could follow the link and follow the trail and potentially find them once more. Your father seemed terrified of this prospect and immediately began to prepare for everyone to leave, and you, sensing that it was time to go, even though you had only just reconnected with your family, also grabbed your friends and decided to disembark, travelling on to what had been described as the Silver City, a pit stop for dice on your way to Gracia. And so, where we left off, you were flying above the storm, the arcane red lightning still raging below you, but the sounds of the storm now dying off as Aurelia flew quite easily out of the eye and into the clear sky above. You now have a day or so to travel. Is there anything you would like to discuss along the way? Dice, you don't have to raise your hand, Dice, you can just speak.
No, that was just hey, wait, I have a thought. I was trying to get D&D Beyond open, and then I realised I had a load of messages about the kids, and I got very sidetracked. I'm very sorry.
Sorry, it looked like a snake was trying to attack him then. It was just a poke you in the face.
So, what I would like to do is gather a load of scrap metal and bits and pieces and cogs and whatever, and I want to try and build a small dragon, a dog-sized dragon.
Okay.
Using the design of the metal-bladed wings I've got now to understand how to construct functional flying wings.
Okay.
And obviously I've seen a metal dragon previously, so I'm hoping I can translate the design but in miniature. like a smaller version, but with functional wings. I'm aware this might take more than a day or two. This is like a couple of weeks worth of work, but we're going to be on this airship for a while, and I'd like to do a little project.
It's a craft project.
It's a craft project.
Okay. Yeah, all right. You started off as a builder of small metal dogs in your journey through artificery. Yeah, roll me a tinkering check.
Okay. Proficiency times 2, dexterity, and just the roll? Or is it intelligence?
Intelligence.
I wouldn't bother, but thank you.
It's okay.
So that would be a... oh god, so many numbers. $34.
A 34.
Yes.
Okay.
But thank you, Em. I rolled a 19. I didn't think I could get better than that anyway.
Because of Ace's forging background.
Yeah.
Okay. Sequestering yourself off then in your bedroom, or in the tinkering room that you discovered was there when you were helping the Reverend upgrade their weapons. You gather quite a few spare parts for the repairs or maintenance to the ship mainly, and it takes the majority of the day, and people have very quickly learned not to disturb you guys, at least your friends anyway, know that when you're in this kind of mood, there's no point in disturbing you. At some point you will probably realise the sun has gone from the sky, but until then, until you come up for air, there's no point in trying to distract you. You work out effectively how the wings work. You spent a few days with them now, testing their abilities anyway. And it does take all day, but by the end of the day, you have probably got most of the parts you need selected. And then a quite effective blueprint. It may need some tinkering here and there down the line, but by the end of the day, you've got a blueprint ready. You've got the parts you think you need. It may take a lot longer than a day, as you said, to actually construct and finish. But at this point, you've got the beginnings of probably a slightly larger than pseudo-dragon metal dragon.
So the eventual aim, just so we're clear, is to put Aurelia into the pseudo-dragon when I leave the boat so she can come with us. So she can have both as a home. So to move the housing, because I figure if the I can't remember what it's called, the thing that goes in my chest, the hang on, my brain's gone. Docent, thank you. If the docent's small enough to fit on a human chest, then there's no reason that the same crystal, whatever it is, wouldn't be possible to fit into the small metal dragon. And we've already proven that she can control mechanics, so I figured maybe I could give her a portable version of her home.
Okay. All right.
I can't believe you're getting your dog back.
I kind of...
Hell yeah.
I kind of saw where you were going with it. But
I figured you probably did.
Yeah, okay. You've got the blueprints ready, you've got the parts you think you need. You could make it work.
Okay, that's what I'll be doing in my downtime.
You reckon that without more specialised tools, it's gonna look like the clunkiest, most steampunk...
Should we say it's going to be some Robot Wars ass shit?
Oh, it's going to be a Robot Wars ass dragon.
Beautiful.
It's going to be the kind of dragon that Sir Kill-A-Lot would need to go after on a quest kind of thing. But yeah, it's going to be clunky. It's not going to be pretty, but it's going to be a dragon.
It can be refined later.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is what you do with your day.
Right, check your messages on Facebook for God's sake.
Okay.
For God's sake.
I don't.
I need you to send me a link to
I'm-
to join the campaign because I've made a second D&D Beyond account as a worker.
Jesus Christ.
If we have combat, I do not know the Reverend's character sheet well enough to play him without looking at it.
Hang on. Okay. I was going to say that I'm kind of in the middle of something, Craig.
No, you're not. No, this is more important. Me.
Okay. Yeah, just you. You're the most important. Give me a second.
Listen, someone has to be the star.
I apologize, everybody, for this. There you go. Would you like me
Thanks,
to
bud.
unassign?
I would love for you to unassign the Reverend, please.
I
Yes.
don't know if I can.
You should be able to.
Nope, can't, because he's yours. You can unassign him, and I can take him.
God damn it.
But you can look at him because he's not private.
Can you reassign him? Like, could you, if I create a character real quick, could you assign him to me? So, like, once I'm in the campaign.
I can't assign him to you. All I can do is deactivate him and kick him out of the campaign.
Which we don't really want to do.
God damn it.
You can look at him. You can look at the character sheet.
Yeah, that'll
In
be
full.
fine. I'll just make a note of things. Fine.
Cool. Right. So, was there anything anyone else wanted to do apart from reassert control of their own character?
So, Ace will offer to do some metal work if Dice so wishes for any aesthetic purpose, but
Okay.
Oh, yes.
And
Definitely.
then Reverend?
I think the Reverend is gonna sort of try and find a quiet corner of the ship just to, disassemble all his guns, check them over, give them a clean, reassemble them. That kind of general maintenance stuff.
While also disassembling all of the most recent information they've discovered about the infernal nature of some of their party members and the fact that a god has recently contacted them.
He's certainly thinking that over.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Looks like no one can leave the character sheet for the Reverend because of the fucked upness of my...
did you make Rev private?
No, it's got to do with the stupid subscription shit.
Yeah, I can't do it either.
Yeah, cool. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Rev's taking a nap.
We
New
can
I could have a new.
we can guesstimate. We can
Yeah,
guesstimate.
it's fine. I'm just gonna remake him from memory.
Okay. Oriana, is there anything... Hang on. Is there anything Oriana wanted to do with her day?
Oh, we can't hear you, Charlie. Oh, it's not working. Okay.
Okay, cool. There is nothing Oriana wanted to do with the day. Cool. Okay, right. As the day then turns into night, Dice, you do notice from the persistent grumbling in your stomach, which eventually gets through to you as hunger. It's been going on for like a few hours now, but you've been kind of ignoring it, lost in your blueprint. But you do then eventually take supper, which is much larger than usual, as you haven't eaten all day. The rest of you, after performing your own maintenance, Ace, polishing your armor, you do then make your way to bed, certain in the knowledge that tomorrow you should be at the Silver City, confirmed as Oriana's parents at least confirmed. It is then Dice. The next morning, you are woken by a soft voice in your head. Dice.
Hmm?
There are lights in the distance.
Okay. I will. I'll be on the deck in a second. Just bear with me.
You look out of the window of your room, and all is darkness.
Oh, Griffin.
Oh, my headset's working.
Yep.
I didn't realise it was started working again.
Yep. Okay, so I can't see the lights.
No, you're looking out of the side of the ship.
Okay. I will get myself together. Whose door is closest to me in the ship?
Directly opposite yours would be Oriana's.
Okay. I'll knock on it as I go past and go, lights, there's lights, and then head up onto the deck.
What?
And I will go and stand on the deck and look over the edge.
Okay.
I'll eventually drag myself out of bed and follow.
Okay. It takes you a while then, Dice, to clear the sleep out of your eyes and actually focus enough for you to see clearly off in the distance. By which time Oriana has joined you. But as you stare off, you see far, far away in the distance, just lightening the horizon. You can tell the sun is moments away from breaking over the mountains and dawn encompassing the lands below you. But there are, just in that soft space between the darkness of the mountains and the brightening sky, there are what look like stars. Just as if someone scattered glitter dust over the mountain's peaks. And they twinkle at you. Roll me a perception check.
I'll give it a go.
If you're both looking, roll me a perception check.
30-20.
12.
Okay.
Or
Oriana,
he's still going.
Oriana, it is very pretty. Dice. Takes a moment, but they're not just twinkling randomly, like reflected light, or the stars in the night sky, small wisps of cloud passing over them. There's a sequence. The longer you watch, it does not appear to be any kind of language or code or signal that you've heard about, learned in your travels. But there is a sequence. The lights are on for a perfectly predetermined set amount of time before they dim and others light. It just keeps repeating over and over again.
Can you see the pattern of the lights?
I mean, they're twinkling and it looks pretty.
I mean,
I guess there's a rhythm to it.
I meant the dragon, Ari.
Oh, well, I don't know. You talk out loud sometimes.
Said Aurelia. This is what happens when I wake you up.
Yeah, don't do that.
Sorry.
There is a certain rhythm to the lights, but as your friend Oriana has said, there is no language.
No. Sorry, I just wondered why they are repeating like that. Aurelia, I'd recommend that we go sort of as quiet and dark on our approach as possible and land a little bit away so that we can walk towards without raising alarm. These are not necessarily friends.
All of the lights and the lamps on the ship immediately dim.
Thank you.
Do you want me to fly over?
I think we'd better go together.
If you're looking at it now, it's about a mile away.
That's not far.
As you get closer, though, the lights all begin to dim as the sun does just crest the top of the mountain. As it does so, an incredible amount of things all happen at once. The mountains appear to burst into flame. But the flames are not red, orange, or white hot. They are rainbow. As where the lights were, it now appears as if a great glass flower is blooming in the sunlight, as if its petals are slowly opening. And you see waves and waves of rainbow energy begin to burst forth into the sky, almost like the Northern Lights, but originating from the mountaintop and then shining up into the air before dissipating.
The most beautiful and the most gay thing I have ever seen.
Right, but why? Hang on. And I'm going to use the messaging stone just to call Ace over and the Reverend too to come and see it because it's pretty.
Okay.
So I just say,
Both are in not much time.
come and see the pretty thing on the deck of the ship. Well, I mean, it's not on the deck of the ship, but it's just come up to the deck of the ship.
I'll come up to the deck of the ship.
Okay.
So what am I catching here on perception? ODM.
Yes. Roll me a perception check.
Okay.
I'll roll one as
Anyone
well.
who wants to try and work out what's going on.
Pretty sure my perception was +9. So I rolled a 15.
That 20.
Fantastic.
22.
Dice, do you want to try and work out what's going on?
Oh, yeah, thank you.
20.
What am I rolling against? Sorry?
Perception.
Oh, would it not be an intelligence check to try and work out what's going on since I already got over 20 on the perception?
You need to be able to... Well, you got the 20 on the perception for the lights.
I also just rolled another dirty 20.
Nice. Okay. So, and you got a 15, Reverend, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. As the lights begin to die down, the rainbow pulsing energy flaring but subsiding slightly, not really cresting the tops of the mountains now. Ace points it out first. You've seen this before. When your father has left cold or cooling armour out on a winter's day to allow it to cool in the winter air, when the clouds then sometimes part and the heat of the sun beats down on the armour, you've noticed that the dew or the condensation begin to evaporate from the armour, and on a much more miniature scale, you've seen these rainbow bursts cascading in the sunlight coming from the armour. And as you point that out, that it's familiar to you, all of you then begin to pick out much straighter lines than nature tends to form.
In the rainbow?
In the structure of the mountain itself. And as you head further and further towards the peak, you can pick out then, instead of jagged rock, there are what look like towers or huge jagged teeth, but made almost entirely of polished metal. And as you pick out more and more, haphazardly, almost growing out of the peak of the mountain, creating a kind of circle around each other, you do work out then why potentially this might be called by others the Silver City. As you, Dice, work out that these tall silver spires seem to be exactly where the lights you saw were rhythmically emanating from, just before the dawn.
See that as well?
You all see it, yeah.
It's
got
not
nothing.
Bifrost, but something a bit more man-made.
They weren't kidding when they called it a silver city.
Pretty. It's very pretty.
Mm.
Let's just hope they don't try and kill us on sight.
We can only hope.
It's beautiful, actually.
As the sky begins to brighten further, you do not, Reverend, but the rest of you, the three of you, do see two small shapes. Very difficult to make out. They're tiny. At this distance, they look like ants. But two small shapes do rise perfectly in unison from the city. And the dots that are currently forming their shapes right now begin to grow steadily larger as they fly towards you.
Incoming.
Ooh, okay. Well, looks like we're meeting people a little sooner than planned.
We could go meet them halfway, the two of us.
Let's let them come here. At least then we've got backup if things go badly.
True.
But I do make sure that my armor is fully out and transform it into Guardian armor.
Okay. So you transform it into Guardian armor, which I suppose you can do at the end of a long rest, which you've all
Yeah,
had.
I feel very
You've all had
rested.
a long rest, that's fine. Yeah, none of you have really done anything, so yeah.
I can do it at the end of a short rest as well, so
Yes.
I can change it multiple times a day.
That's fine.
But to change it as an action, I can only do it once.
Just remember to roll for a new dawn for the crown.
Yes.
Get all the spots back.
So as the dots then get progressively larger and larger, they do take on much more detailed form. There's a shape to them. And you can see limbs. One appears to have 6 lower limbs, and then 2 where you would assume their arms are, a pair of bright flashing wings, almost gold bronze in the sunlight. The rest of their body a dark, kind of tarnished grey metal. And then another to the right is sleek. There is a bronze finish to their entire body. They are much skinnier than their companion, but they only have 2 legs, 2 arms. They appear to be wearing a cloak and no other clothing. The cloak itself flapping in the wind. While the one with 6 legs has wings, the one in the cloak appears to be flying through their own power. And as they get closer and closer, you, Dice, do notice something altogether very familiar about the figure with the bronze finish. It is Vizier.
Yay!
They get within then 10 feet of the side of the ship and pull up, slowly hovering there in the air before you. Vizier slightly more forward than their companion, and you can see now their companion is massive. Roughly humanoid in shape apart from the 6 lower limbs. He appears, his torso or where his crotch section would be, has been elongated back to allow for the 6 limbs. And then his arms are large. His hands appear to be like crab claws for potentially lifting, carrying. But they are quite jagged, so they look like they could do quite a bit of damage in an attack.
Like a space lobster.
But he kind of just stands there, or hovers there, very quickly flapping wings. And it sounds like almost the buzz of a bee as he just hovers behind Vizier, looking hench, worrying about his companion, as Vizier kind of floats very easily, keeping up with the speed of the ship as the ship continues on towards the Silver City.
You know, you could land if you wanted to.
I did not want to presume, old friend.
I think you can presume.
Thank you. Lob. And they both come down and land on the ship. Vizier lands incredibly incredibly slowly, gently. Lob crunches. His 6 limbs do leave dents in the deck of the ship. He is a heavy mofo.
Can I walk over to Lob, hold my hand out and go, "Pleased to meet you, Lob. My name is Dice." And I'm going to hold my hand out and see what he shakes it with. I'm just curious.
He very gently puts one of the crab claws forward and gives you like the top or larger part of the pincer, and just allows you to shake the end.
Pleasure to meet you.
It is an incredible pleasure to meet you. I have never had the joy of a normal mortal greeting with mortals. I tend to stay in the Silver City. I am not as easy to relate to as our scouts and our lord. And he bows towards Vizier.
Your lord? You're a lord?
There is perhaps much we did not have the time to discuss previously.
Apparently.
I am, however, very glad that you and your friends are safe, well, and have taken me up on my invitation.
I'm very excited to be here. Apparently you have tiny robots?
The Modrons.
The Modrons?
They have made a home here. They are not of my people, but we share this place with them.
If you can find one that would let me meet them, I would really like to meet them.
Of course, though I would ask, why?
Because they're really cute.
Ah, of course, they are small, helpful, and I suppose they tick all of the boxes for you mortals and your cohabitation creatures.
Well, look at it this way. We have accidentally summoned a Modron a couple of times. Well, I say we. Oriana has accidentally summoned a Modron twice. And every time I really wanted to just spend a bit of time and see them and look at them, and every time either I was invisible or...
You mean STU for RT?
It's a specific one?
There is something about their particular construction. They have what appears to be arcane symbols carved into their exterior and report quite frequently that they are called by accidental magic by sorcerers all over your plane.
Hurry, you're calling one specific Modron?
I should probably apologize.
No, he finds most of his excursions quite interesting. He has never been destroyed, though he has been threatened quite a few times.
I just wanted to pick him up. I'm being incredibly rude. I am so sorry. Rev, this is my friend, Vizier. Vizier, this is the Reverend.
A man of the cloth.
Yeah, of sorts.
We have many temples for any who would visit. To which god do you adhere?
Hermes, the god of travel.
Ah, yes. No, I believe we have a small assortment of Grecian temples. I believe Hermes is at least represented there.
Do you have one for Hades?
Yes, in the same place.
Good news. You
We
can
have-
let him know we're visiting.
We rarely have mortals visit, but we are prepared. We have spent centuries studying the flesh.
It's interesting. We were told that the Silver City is unwelcoming, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
We are, I think, almost ready to let the world know we exist. shall we say.
Well, are you aware of the changes to the world?
We are not.
That the elves are no longer under the thrall of the green crystal and the magics. If you ask them what's west of Avalon, they no longer say there is nothing west of Avalon.
I never did
Most of them.
understand why they ever said there was nothing west of Avalon. There was once a great and bountiful land west of Avalon.
But now the nothing resides west of Avalon. Dark, grumpy entity. Doesn't like us very much, I think.
You mean the Void?
If that's another name for him, that would make perfect sense. That is what is west of Avalon. So no one was lying, per se, but all the elves' memories have come back. They no longer seek to persecute humans, most of them, unless they were assholes in the first place, I suppose.
Well, this is
Sadly,
joyous.
the Inquisition is still a thing.
But for the most part, this is joyous news for fleshlings and others like you.
For fleshlings, this is very good news. Not so much for the elves. I think they're having a bit of a tough time adapting. Many
They've
of
got
them are
quite the
nice
adjustment
people.
period.
Yeah.
Do you know how this incredible, fortuitous event came to be?
Do you remember Quill?
Mm,
You would not have met Quill. You left after sepsis, I think.
I was about to ask, your friend.
After sepsis summoned the giant angry celestial thing,
The Empyrean.
and you took off at around the same time. We met another friend called Quill, who joined our party and was a wonderful companion for a time. Quill broke a crystal heart underneath the prince's palace in Paris, and in doing so caused a big explosion and stopped a lot of the control that was in place. And then felt guilty and went to on a pilgrimage to help elves. It's a pretty good summary, I think.
That was a lot
No,
to
you very much got it
process.
all.
It appears then we have as I always knew you would be, travelling group of heroes in our midst.
No, I mean, we've blown up more places than we've left intact, I think, at this point, so maybe not.
But with your actions, how many people do you believe you have freed?
It wasn't our actions, it was Quill's. We were just there.
You did not help in any way.
Help, hinder. It's a fine line.
Would Quill have been in that position having never met you?
No, I would think not.
Probably
So you
not.
are heroes then?
No, Quill is a hero.
Lob, return to the city. Have them prepare a proper welcome.
Oh no.
And Lob immediately jumps into the sky and zooms off.
Oh,
Just
no,
just before he goes, can I please pat Lob on the shoulder and go, "Thank you, Lob"? I want to be really nice to Lob.
You're about to, and as you go to pat him, you're patting thin air and you shout "thank you" as he zooms off.
Thank you, Lob. He's quick. Vizier, now Lob is out of earshot. Lob, really? He chose the name?
Yes.
Short. Is it short for something?
Because normally Lob is to throw a ball, sort of like. Boop.
Loading, ordnance, and battle.
Yeah, there we go.
I see. It's a good name.
It is the name he took from his previous designation when he awoke.
I see.
I did not have a name. Mine was given.
You might like to meet
by those that elected me.
to be Lord of the Silver City.
Lord is a fleshling word. Oldest, first to awake. Natural, logical choice as leader.
It's very fancy, you know.
We will speak more about myself and the Silver City when we arrive, but please, try not to be scared. You will be the first fleshlings, apart from Antonius, who spent his entire time covered in
Being
armor.
Antonius.
The Antonius he was before you met him, yes. Please, they mean well, but they will stare at you.
We're used to it.
I promise, though, you will come to no harm while you are here.
Honestly, I didn't think that we would. With you in charge, you're a friend. So that's fine. You know how you were in a docent for a while?
Yes.
I got a different one after you if you'd like to meet her. She's a dragon.
You forgot our special bond so soon you replaced me with another.
Hardly. We battled to get her out of the chest for giant metal dragon.
I apologize. I do not find much chance to exercise my humor among the other Warforged, as we are.
Humor's not so much a thing in the Silver City, because they might struggle with us.
We have a very different sense of what is humorous here.
All in binary.
I was going to say, is it all in ones and zeros?
Well, no, but
Hexadecimal code?
one of my colleagues, his head, had a disagreement with his torso, and so the torso removed the head, put it on a high shelf, and wandered around for 3 days, taunting him, while the head requested that he come back and be granted some autonomy. We all found this to be hilarious.
That is hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Yep.
Well,
Fully hilarious.
I believe we will get on quite well then. But please, while you've been speaking, you can now, you turn and you see the rest of the city as you've gotten quite close. The spires themselves, it is confirmed to you that they do appear to grow out of the sides of the mountain. They appear to grow straight up through the earth. You can't see where there are foundations, you can't see where they would join the ground, but they are jagged metal spikes. Now you are closer, you see that it's not completely smooth. It is polished silver, perhaps by the elements, but it hasn't rusted. It has been polished silver, and polished smooth by the wind and the rain. Other than that, though, it's quite jagged. And as you look at it, it appears to have broken. As if when it was coming up, it was scarred or torn by the stone as it punched through it. But everything around you, everything outside of the metal spires is covered in snow. Inside the metal spires, and even as the ship passes into it, you can sense the feeling of changing from cold to hot. It is not too hot. It is a quite balmy kind of summer day inside the ring of spires, but the ground below you is paved once more again. Instead of cobblestones, they appear to be like just chunks of metal that are put into, and as you look down, as the ship begins to descend, the chunks of metal that have been used as paving stones, incredibly elaborate, beautiful, but completely alien to you, like almost artistic roadways and patterns have been made through and in between all these metal spires and in between all the buildings. And you see below you teams and teams of metallic humanoid creatures, and some much less humanoid, beginning to converge on a large open clearing that the ship is descending towards.
This
Log,
will be an interesting time.
we have rooms appointed for honoured guests that are quite near my own. I think it best we head there first. And as the ship touches down, the stone legs then come out of the sides of the airship, embed themselves in the metal ground. The drawbridge lowers, or the bridge lowers very slowly, touching the ground. There is complete silence in what looks to be a crowd, perhaps 1,000 strong. And it mostly is warforged. There are quite a few modrons, different shapes and sizes. What look like huge golden or bronze metal balls running around with many eyes in different sections of the ball, and they constantly keep turning so the ball, each eye can get a good look at you. And as you step down, they all kneel.
I don't like it.
And then very quickly all stand back up.
Well, that's better at least.
Vizier holds out his hand, and you do notice that he, after touching down on the ship, is not taking a step while he is there. His feet just kind of hang below him as he very slowly, at the same pace as you walking, just glides along next to you, maybe an inch off the ground.
You know that's a little creepy, don't you?
I apologise, and he immediately touches down.
No,
And
no.
begins to walk.
Only because it is unfamiliar, not because it is bad. Be yourself. Don't settle for anyone else's expectations. Glide. Be happy.
And again, he rises to an inch above the ground and continues to move on. And you can see all of the clockwork, what look like tattoos on his bronze skin, just click in clockwork motion as they go around, completely silently, but all of the clockwork, the cogs and the wheels and the dials that are tattooed or carved into his metal skin just constantly turn, as if his skin is constantly shifting like a liquid metal.
You're a bit fancier than when I last saw you.
It is a mixture of my own magics and the magics bastardized by the elves. They unlocked something in this form that, some of it, partially an upgrade to my old one. However, that does lead into the request I have of you.
Yes?
We will speak more when we are inside.
Okay.
As you walk forward, all of the crowd begin to hold their hands towards you. Not to touch you, but you sense that the hands, and you can sense a kind of almost energy field, kind of like static electricity, building up around you as you walk. And as you go past, they seem to lower their hands, as if they're holding on to something, like a sense of you. And not one of them comes too close, not one of them kind of interrupts your personal space, but you do feel as if they have all held their hand out to kind of touch your cloak as you passed by, but not one of them comes within 5 feet of you. And they all seem very silent, reverential, almost.
I wave at them. Hey.
One stands there and they're kind of like nervously like stepping back toe to toe. And while all of the Warforged are effectively the same size, impossible to tell if any of them differ in age because of the way that they look and the way they are made. Behind him stand, arm in arm, two quite stoic Warforged. and just standing in front of them, and he's hopping back from toe to toe. He's maybe 5 inches taller than them, making him about 7 foot tall. But he's the one dancing like a 5-year-old in a crowd who's really excited about what's going on. And as you wave, he waves back, very, very quickly, mimicking you.
I nudge Ori and go, I found the kid! I found a kid!
It's a big kid.
Right?
Roll me a perception check.
Okay. I know what my modifier is. Wow!
Oh, I
26.
see. I remember what kid now.
26.
13.
Okay. As you look around, you do notice there are a few others who are, again, acting in a much more childlike fashion, slightly more immature, not carrying themselves as stoically or as kind of normally as the majority of the crowd is. But as you begin to look around as well, it's not just their emotion or their stillness that your eyes catch. You also notice a lot of the older ones, or what you now believe to be the adults, they are mostly metal. There are panels that have been replaced with wood, with much more crude metal oars. Some have rock lower legs or lower arms with completely immobile hands. Others have had their hands completely replaced with a hammer kind of head of very crude rock. Some limbs have been replaced by wood as opposed to metal or rock. Almost all of the adults are in some sort of, if their natural state is all metal, almost all of the adults are in some sort of disrepair. But as you continue on, you get to the foot of what is like a central spire. The door, or the wall is completely smooth until you approach it, and Vizier holds up his hand, and the door slides open. And he gestures inside.
I will wander in. Hopefully everyone else will too.
Okay. As you wander in then, there are two very large, very tall, very wide. If they were mortal, you would consider them to be muscular, looking apparent guardsmen. They are holding something almost entirely of metal. There is no wooden working to it, but what they have in their hands, which is clasped across their chest, does very much remind you of the Reverend's long gun. But these are made almost entirely of metal. What you would consider to be the barrel of them is not cylindrical in any way. There seems to be a long, thin slot at the front, and what appears to be a focusing crystal in the center of it.
Okay.
You muted, Greg. Sorry.
I'm going to be taking a real close look at those as we go by.
Okay. Well, give me a quick perception check or an investigation, whichever you prefer.
Okay, I believe that I have advantage on perception checks that are based on sight.
Yes.
17. Still bad, but...
Okay, no, that's fine. As you go through,
it's bad that I rolled an 8.
Yeah.
17 is fine.
Yeah.
But an 8 is bad.
With your, in fact, trained eye and your expertise in firearms, you do pick out much more obvious details than Dice would or anyone else. So the first thing you look for is a kind of, where do you put the ammo? Is there a trigger? Is there an easy triggering mechanism? Is it obvious, in the way that yours is constructed? You do find An easy trigger, positioned exactly the same place you are. These appear to have been designed to be fired by humans or humanoids. You can't see anywhere that ammo would go. However, looking at the construction of it, the barrel, while wide and flat, is quite long and thin, but then the body of the weapon and the stock is then actually quite thick. So you would consider whatever ammo, potentially, or whatever this fires, is stored or generated there. Other than that, unless you get your hands on one, you're not gonna.
Yeah.
Vizier continues to walk down the corridor. You get to another set of doors. He presses a button next to it, and again they open. And it is a very small cylindrical room that would easily fit all of you, but just. And he gestures inside. You go in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. As he joins you then, the door's shut. And without then anything else happening and we're touching anything, you all immediately feel this strange sense of leaving your breakfast behind you as the entire room shoots upwards at an incredible speed. It is only a moment. A couple of you do falter slightly, but no one falls. But by the time you've gotten used to it, again, it slows. This time, slightly easier. While you do all feel a little bit queasy, the doors once more open, and there is a much shorter corridor leading out to what looks like a comfortable room.
Can I just say, for the record, if you have future fleshlings visiting, you may wish to slow that down a tiny bit for them. Obviously, you do not have a stomach, but mine is still by the door.
I will take that. I will advise our engineers.
Just a thought.
Please, this is to be the meeting room of the first delegates we invite here from neighbouring nations. I have taken the liberty of having cushioned seats arranged, and you can see a few couches with cushion. Like they look quite plush, but they also look like they've been made very, very rudimentary. They've been made with very badly tanned leather, as if this was not something any of the current residents were originally programmed or designed to do or know about. But they've done their best. They're quite comfortable, but the leather wouldn't hold up very long if exposed to water, moisture, sweat.
I think the Reverend sits down, and you know, like how sometimes when someone a little older or a little arthritic maybe sits down into a chair that's too deep and squishy, and like sort of flounders into it. I think that's how the Reverend sits into the sofa, not being used to cushions and comforts.
So you sit down going,
Go out hell.
Vizier then lowers himself onto what looks like air. And the rest of you, as you kind of look around, you can't see him sitting on anything, but he is perfectly in a sitting position, looking back at you all. He's just floating perfectly still in a seated position in front of you.
I've got to say, it seems like there are some advantages to your way of life.
I am rare among my people. There are not many of us that are blessed with arcane talents. Many of us tend more towards physical. There
Well,
are
you're
a
right.
few, however, those who have up until now attended the door to the Great Forge, who have actually been blessed with much more divine abilities.
The Great Forge?
Again, it appears everything we speak about lends to the reason I have asked you here.
Okay.
At first, though, we should, I believe, or at least I think I need to explain where we came from, to give you some semblance of our need for you here.
Might be a
Okay.
good place to start.
I will have refreshments brought up. Please bear with me. And he stands easily, glides very quickly out the door.
We still got the effects of the hero's feast.
You do, even though it has been over 24 hours since you've eaten, you do all still feel very energized. Much more alive than you were previously. Even those who took a considerable amount of fire damage.
Well, that should have worn off now anyway, I would think.
It should have. No, the fire damage has worn off. You've had a long rest. You were up to full hit points. But you were up to the full hit points, including the temporary bonus from Hero's Feast.
I haven't done a long rest. So I still have the damage from the fire as well. Greg can't do
This time.
a long rest.
It's true, but also
It's fine.
my character isn't damaged.
I thought you
'Cause
did
they're-
take damage.
Yeah, I'm sure I did, but I'm looking at a brand new character
That's
Yes.
fine.
as I've tried to approximate the Reverend as much as possible from memory.
I'm only down 10 hit points, so I
Oh.
should be alright.
My temporary hit points went away.
It was plus 14.
It's plus 14. So back up to full, plus 14. Full spell
They
slots,
also-
full everything.
They also aren't temporary hit points. They're
They're part
it's
of
a
the permanent.
modifier to your hit point max.
I did it as a max hit point modifier, but it took it off.
Yeah,
Yes, it will.
there's a little tick box for resetting max hit point changes when you take a long rest.
Okay. All right.
So as you all sit waiting for Vizier to return, is there anything you would like to discuss?
Reverend, I'm sure this must be somewhat confusing for you.
Well, no more than most of what's
Break
happened
out.
since I met you.
Uh,
You seem a
this-
little, well, all of you seemed a little uncomfortable out there with the greeting you received.
I do not like people kneeling and being all praising and things like that. It just makes me uncomfortable.
It's happened a couple of times, and I think we've established that we're not really looking for praise.
That happens a lot.
It happens on
yeah.
occasion.
Only on occasion, yeah.
Yeah, that must be quite disorienting if it's not something you're about.
I mean, we were never looking for praise. We were looking
What
to
are you?
survive.
Wow.
Make a difference. We don't want to be I mean, a thank you is different to parade, party in our honor. It's just the only time I've liked it was when we were gladiators.
Okay, that was pretty fun. And it felt like we'd done something to earn it. This time,
Yeah.
all it feels like is that we were in the right place at the right time.
These people seem to feel like they owe some sort of debt to you.
Yeah, I have no idea why. I'm hoping Vizier will clarify at some point.
How do
Sorry.
you all know this? There, you I know you know them, but I didn't quite catch what the
I'm gonna
connection
leave-
was there.
I'm going to leave Dice to explain this one.
He lived in my armor for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had some
Mhm.
friends who were. We had a friend who was an automaton,
Hmm.
and the Inquisitor killed him.
Uh-huh.
I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Not as sorry as the Inquisitor will be.
In time, yes. But Vizier, at the time, his consciousness had been transferred into something called a dozent, and he was stuck in this ball. We offered him the body of our friend because First wasn't using it anymore. And then Vizier chose to leave and come back here. Apparently he had things to do, and now he seems to be a lord, so there's that.
Mm-hmm. Life moves mighty fast around you lot.
Sometimes. We don't mean to, though.
Y'all take on a little too much, I think.
Take on, forced upon.
I was going to say, that just sort of happens. It's not a choice we make, it's that, people
It's
need
all
help.
choices. Yeah.
Can't
Yeah,
really ignore
there's-
things.
There's always folks that need help. Most people find it pretty easy to ignore. Not y'all.
I guess we're not most people.
Just in our upbringing.
Yeah, I reckon I'd agree with that.
Well, we were raised in a society that didn't have gold. Everything was traded or bartered, favors. If someone was in need, you helped.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
And don't take this wrong, but I don't think we've ever discussed it. How old are y'all?
Ha.
It's a tricky one.
It is a tricky one because I don't remember.
It's a tricky one for two of us in particular.
Yeah. Bri, how long have we been away from Nidum?
About a year. You've all had a birthday.
Yeah. So I would be 19 now, I guess.
I am technically 19, but due to some mishaps, I'm around about 25.
That's confusing.
Yeah, don't think about it too hard.
Wait till you get to Ace.
What about Ace?
Right, out of character. Was it 5 years that I aged in the portal, plus the 1 year?
Yes.
Yeah, so I turned 16 and then was 21.
Okay.
I
Well,
blinked and suddenly I was in my 20s.
Same. Well,
Oh,
some
I
of that's a little.
everyone else did.
Some of that's a little confusing, but wow, sweet Hermes, that's that's a lot to have on your shoulders at such a tender age.
Well, we would have liked to have stayed home, I think, for a little longer. But
Yeah.
Even as you look,
That's-
Reverend, at Ace now, saying that they're 21, the grey kind of shocks that go back in their hair, for a 21-year-old, that's a big paper round. That's
Yeah.
a hard living 21-year-old.
Just those 5 years, man.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard.
I kind of wish I could take all this responsibility off of you, but truth be told, I wouldn't know what to do with it.
it's okay. We don't know what to do with it either. We just sort of do.
You adapt.
I worry a little about y'all.
What?
Why? Well, at 19, I was Well, I was getting up to stuff, but it wasn't. I certainly didn't have the fate of the world on my shoulders. I didn't walk into towns and find out I was some figure of worship. Far from it. And I don't know. I reckon. I reckon it must be hard. Hard to be so important, so young. So yeah.
I hate to say you get used to it, but we really haven't been.
Yeah.
I would say we don't really feel important. We're just
We
there.
just feel like ourselves.
Yeah.
We're just in the right place at the right time, and we help people when we can.
Yeah. You seem to help an awful lot of people. And I don't know. Like I say, it's a lot to put on such young shoulders. And don't get me wrong, you got the broad shoulders to bear it. I don't mean no disrespect. I'm kind of blown away by y'all, but it's
Ace looking at their incredibly broad shoulders.
but it makes me a little sad, is all.
That's okay. It makes us a little sad too.
Yeah.
Though we have had some fun too. Please don't think we have only spent the last year being miserable and running for our lives. For the most part, that's true, but we have had some fun too.
I'm happy to hear that.
I mean, the gladiatorial fights in particular were great fun.
Yeah, this is the second time you've mentioned being gladiators in a pretty short period. I'm trying my best not to think about it.
Why?
Well, it's a lot of danger. You shouldn't. I don't know. Now that I know y'all are, 19, 21, I don't. I kind of feel like someone should be looking out for y'all.
Maybe that's why you're here.
Yeah, mayhap.
You can keep an eye on us and stop us doing anything too stupid.
But
No one's
that's
succeeded yet, but you can give it a go.
That's not what I mean at all.
I'd call you daddy, but somebody already has that title, and it's not my father.
True.
All right. Well, the less I think about what you said, the better. So that ghost, is he coming back? Do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely.
Possibly
come
after the break.
At that moment, the doors do slide open, and in glides once more Vizier, a tray on either side of him, with jugs and glasses and goblets, just kind of glides or floating next to him. And they kind of set down on small coffee tables or side tables near you. And he once more settles back into his seated position. So, the explanation of how we came to be.
Yes, I am very interested.
And before we get into it, we are going to take a break because it's 9 o'clock.
I might.
It's baby handover time. Look at the baby.
My arms are knackered. I've been rocking that child to sleep for hours.
You've done very well.
Yes, thank you, those who've been watching so far. Thank you, those who've been very active in chat. Hello and welcome to usernames I've never seen before. I hope you're still around and I hope you're enjoying so far. You do obviously join us at episode 89. All previous episodes are available on our YouTube.
I love a moose could be a deer, though.
A moose could be a deer, it's cool.
Could totally be a day.
Also, though, if you are more into your podcasts and listening instead of watching, the first, because I was concentrating so much on Fables, only the first 60-odd episodes of Chronicles of Nidum are available on Spotify, but I will get the rest of them uploaded this week. But yes, go to our YouTube, search for Chronicles of Nidum or Dice of the Beholder on Spotify.
Had an hour ago and he hasn't spit up yet.
You can find them. But yes, We will be back in about 10-15 minutes. Please don't go anywhere. If you do go anywhere, grab your friends, bring them back, make them watch too. But yes, come back to find out the origins of Vizier and the Warforged. Don't go anywhere. See you in a bit.
Throwing our baby! Greg!
And we're back in the room. Hello! Yes, we've returned. To the second half, or welcome back, or welcome to part 2 of episode 89 of the Chronicles of Nidum. Where we left off, you were about to have the history of the Warforged you had befriended, Vizier, and his people explained to you. And also, as part of that, the reason for his request for your presence here in the Silver City. But as Vizier looks out at you all, he does focus mainly on you, Dice, having had the closest connection with you while he was travelling with you previously, being a docent, living in your armour, speaking to you psychically. I first awoke. I say awoke. It is not as you fleshlings when you sleep for the evening and wake up the next morning. When we describe waking, it is the moment that we first started having memories. It is the moment that we first started developing a personality. None of us have any memory before that moment. I first awoke, by your calendar, 1700 years ago. To be exact, 1,700 years, 9 months, 3 weeks, 14 days, 4 days, 14 hours, 33 minutes, and 21 seconds ago.
Precise?
It is a curse of our nature. I found myself in the midst of fixing something, a panel, on one of the walls of the spire that you saw when you entered. Surrounding me there were many more of us. There are, or were at that time, in total, 11,473. None of the others had what you would consider to be a language, or a way of expressing themselves. They would obey orders. It was much easier to get them to, I suppose, do my bidding, or follow my suggestions when I first developed or learnt how to express myself through language and sound. But that took easily a decade. I was alone, being the only one who had awoken for a very long time, perhaps 150 years, before two awoke at once. They were both very good friends of mine, one a partner, I suppose as you would consider a lover to be. One that I was, or at least I thought, eventually going to recreate life with. Unfortunately, that was not to be. As with personalities, we also developed something akin to your emotions. One of those being jealousy, others being anger, rage, and with that came the ability to betray. My love was taken from me. But I think perhaps now I've been avenged. And he stares at you, Dice, as he says this. For you wear the wings of my betrayer.
Was that the person who stole the person, or was that the person that you were in love with?
He was the one who killed my lover.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't great, but yeah, he's definitely really super duper dead.
Dead.
Like dead. I am sorry
I thought
for your loss.
I thought I would be gladdened by this, but for centuries he was also a good friend. I find myself confused.
Conflicted?
That is a much better word.
If it helps, we killed him because he was trying to kill us.
I'm sure he was.
The
He had-
gladiatorial thing.
I do not blame you.
He had made a deal with the Inquisition, and was
For
quite scary in the arena.
For an army, I expect.
Possibly. You think he was going to come and try and take back control?
He threatened it.
He will never succeed. I am...
Then I hope
But-
at least he did not tell them where he was from before he secured his army.
That I don't know.
Anyway, the three of us tried to determine or discover ways to awaken the rest, but it just appeared that being in our presence for long enough would cause them all to awake, express emotion, desire, freedom of thought. They all began to develop their own personalities, take their own names, partners. And that was it, we believed. We would go out into the mortal world to discover more about the world around us, to try and piece together the reason we were here, but we believed that we were the last of whatever we were. Those of us who took partners found a way to share part of the energies that animated us with each other, thereby creating a light or a spark of energy that they could covet, carry with them. It brought them great comfort to have it near. But they were, so we thought, merely physical representations of partnership. Then came a very trying time in our history, perhaps 1,000 years ago. We began to degrade. Those of us with some divine power, or arcane at least, attempted in some way to create fixes. But all the wood and the metal that we could get to work eventually was not enough. The limbs went first, but as the first one fell and their torso began to degrade, we believed their spark would be lost, and that would mean the end for the rest of us in time. It was then that the Great Forge presented our salvation. The great portal opened. The Forge had sensed our need and had sent us what we needed to survive. Inside the portal was a great number of spare parts, legs, limbs, parts to allow us to upgrade each other, parts to allow a full replacement. We saw full husks of ourselves, very similar to most of the workers, or very similar to most of the figures around here, but with no spark of life of their own. We stored them. At first, thinking eventually if we needed the parts, we would use those, of those fully formed husks, to replace our own. It was when one of our number, carrying the spark they had shared or created in their partnership, took that spark too close to the storage area with the husk inside, the spark leapt to a husk. That husk, having similar skills, but with no real personality, was as a child, and had to be treated as such, raised as such by what we would now call their parents. We discovered the other two husks that the Forge, or the Great Forge, had sent us. Similarly, when other sparks were carried nearby, took root. And so, followers of the Great Forge began to build a religion around the portal, hoping that their prayers might be answered, and the Great Forge would send us more spare parts, so that we might maintain our effective immortality and grow our race. And so it did. Twice a year, every 6 of your months, the portal would open. 3 more husks would appear, more spare parts to replace those of us of our limbs that had degraded. And on it went, for almost a millennia. You may have seen, though, as you were walking through the town today, we have not had any spare parts in a very long time. It has been perhaps 100 years since the Great Portal has opened. We have tried everything we can. We even reached out to a mortal of considerable intellect who found us.
Antonius?
Antonius, a good friend who, when he saw our need, decided, with my help, that we would go out into the world to try and determine a fix.
Well, how did that go?
Well, very shortly after, I met you as a docent, and Antonius as a shell of his former self, so how do you think it went?
Thinking not great.
You would be correct. I would ask, you, Dice, to look on this with new eyes, and to perhaps offer a different solution?
I can try. I think I know why your portal stopped working. For a start.
You would be the first to be able to offer such a solution.
Can't necessarily fix your portal, but I can tell you why it's not functioning as it did.
Why?
Humans and elves were at war. And a person called Arthur. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Rich. It's been a while since we did this. There was
No.
a big gap in between.
Arthur.
Arthur made the decision to remove a large portion of humanity from this plane of existence and to close the doors behind them. What this effectively did was, it did work for the humans. The humans got to go elsewhere, some of them. Mostly the ones without magic, interestingly. And all of the gates were closed. The ones for the gods, too. Some got trapped on this side, some got trapped on the other. Other groups got stuck. The Fae, for example. Some of them are still stuck here. They have not been able to return because none of the portals work. You can't shift from one plane to another as you used to be able to, so wherever your husks and parts were coming from, the likelihood is that gate was also closed.
Though I follow your logic as you see it, I would disagree, especially as being the oldest awakened amongst my people. I know that the portal the parts came from was not divine. It did not lead from another plane, merely from something subterranean. It is
Now that is interesting.
as that was, and he points back at the lift you just came up.
So what if we could reverse it and go through the portal to the other location and
We
see
cannot
what's
go
there?
through the portal.
Why?
Why what?
Why can't we go through the portal?
We cannot go through the portal.
Ori, it's happening again! Oh,
Their version of nothing west of Avalon.
why can't we go through the portal?
You can.
But you can't go through the portal.
We cannot go through the portal.
Can I go through the portal?
I would just... I do not know if it can go down.
Well, perhaps with a bit of prodding and poking, it could.
Dice is good at
If it-
poking and prodding.
If it was like the thing that brought us up here, surely it would have to go down in order to get stuff to bring up.
Dice.
There's got to be a trigger somewhere.
You've all been here now for about an hour. And it's been growing steadily, like tinnitus in your ear, Dice, since you've been here. But now there is kind of a whine, almost like it's reverberating through your armor. But now, what's your passive perception? Is it 16?
Now you're asking the complicated questions.
Mine's 24, if that matters to you.
16.
16? Okay. As you are discussing the possibility of going into the portal, you hear, "Help me." It is quite distorted. It's very tinny, kind of distorted sound, but it is very obviously 2 words. "Help me."
Can I try and reply in the same fashion and say, "Who are you?"
Yeah? You say, "Who are you?" out loud?
Yeah.
Nothing. It just goes back to the wine.
Okay. Vizier, I don't know if you can sense anything. There is a wine, like a signal, I guess. And I heard someone say, "Help me."
It is an echo, white noise, from
It,
the workings of the city, nothing more.
it's not.
There are no words in it.
There are. Where's the source of the noise? Can you take me there?
It is below.
Okay. Can I have a look at your portal?
Yes, I can take you to the Temple of the Great Forge.
Thank you. Please come with me, everyone. I don't want to go alone. Oh,
Yeah,
baby
I
stuff.
suppose I'll come along.
Wow, such joy, Ariana.
Not all of this confuses me.
Well, if we can help Vizier's race to continue to proliferate themselves, then I would like to do that.
I am here to help. I will blow things up if you need me to.
It's all I need in life.
My only skill in this place is setting stuff on fire.
Not the actual city, though, please.
No, not unless you want me to.
Please wait here a moment. I must ask permission of the clerics of the Great Forge to allow your entrance. A portal opens in the wall, this time, out into open space, into the air beyond, and he floats off, straight out of the window.
Okay.
Look, I know it's weird, but Vizier is our friend. Oh, my friend, at least.
I am not arguing that.
Thank you. And Ace, the Great Forge, could be interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I'm happy to assist any way I can.
We get into some weird scrapes.
We do,
One way to
but
put it.
it keeps life interesting, doesn't it?
Oh, sure. Yeah. The Rev seems to be dealing with a baby, so I'm going to assume the Rev is coming with.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit
Yep.
more
Yeah.
disembodied voice. Yep.
Wireless headsets, man.
I'll let you know if I'm not able to come. If I'm not down with whatever's going on. Otherwise, just assume that he's very agreeable and
Okay.
not at all distracted.
Not a problem.
It takes about 10 minutes then, before eventually the portal in the wall does once more open, and in through the window flies Vizier. The clerics of the Great Forge would be honoured to accommodate you.
We are honoured for their welcome.
I assume not all of you have wings.
Just the two.
Then I apologise, but it is the lift again.
It's not that bad. It's just you might end up with.
We weren't expecting.
And if someone had just eaten, you might end up with fleshling vomit on your tiles.
Yes, I can imagine that would be quite awful for you.
Kinda
Pleasant
gross.
experience.
We very fortunately do not have olfactory senses, so. But
Not
please,
so bad.
the lift.
If it's left long enough, it could corrode the metal.
Acid.
Ah,
Is that just a fancy way of saying no gag reflex?
No, no smell.
Ah.
though it is also true we have no gag reflexes, we do not have throats.
Good point.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
It's a thing.
He guides you once more to the lift. You all get in, and with the same lurching speed, it does immediately, almost as in free fall, just the brakes release and it just shoots straight down. You feel yourselves lift maybe an inch off the floor before you find your footing again. And this time it is much more difficult to keep yourself right, but none of you actually fall as it stops at the bottom. I will have my engineers work on it.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be great.
But he steps out and takes you to, or guides you through the rest of the city. The crowd has now dispersed. Everyone appears to have gone back to their previous works. You can see couples walking arm in arm. In front of them, in what appears to be some kind of containment chamber, a few of them have just a floating ball of energy that seems to be impacting the sides, as if it's not attempting to escape. It's not forcing itself against the sides, but it's looking as if it's attempting to take in everything around it. A lot of them, though, are in many different forms, some with even more limbs than Lob had, spider climbing up the sides of buildings to make repairs. And Vizier does point out as he goes, like there are certain panels that energize the city. They take on like energy from the sun, and as he points everything out and how the city works and how like water is processed for like cleaning and making the making of different chemicals and things. But eventually you get to not a spire, but around the corner of one of the spires there is, and it's almost as if the rock has grown around it, but there is a flat silver metal wall that the rock seems to have grown or become one with. And it's built far into a cliffside. And as you approach, you do see what looks like a very familiar portal. One that you have seen in many different places. This one, however, is not made of stone, it is made of metal. But as you approach, instead of activating and a pool of energy like forming in the middle of it, the doors shift open. And there is, or what appears to be, a much larger version of the lift that you were just in, on which you can see very little, apart from two quite small, hunched over automatons. Most of their limbs have been replaced with wood or stone, and they are currently in what appears to be a clicking conversation with a very familiar Modron.
Hello, sorry to interrupt. Hi, I just wanted to say.
Yes,
hi.
this is STU4RT. He has recently been on another excursion.
Wasn't my fault this time.
He clicks emphatically at Vizier, and Vizier turns to you, Oriana. Your sister says hello?
Ah. Cute.
And the Modron clicks at Vizier again. Yes, he was summoned by your sister. She asked that her love and happiness at meeting you was relayed should you finally make your way to the Silver City.
Oh. She's a little sweetheart.
He is or so he has told me. She has been one of his favourites over the many years he has been with us and summoned.
Dice is fully just stood there going.
And as you've waved at him previously, he does kind of like shift his gaze to you, Dice, and just like...
You're really cute.
It's a very wow kind of.
That just makes it cuter. There's no hope here.
But they kind of each shuffles out of his way, and the two hunched over, greatly repaired Warforged kind of turn to you. We are clerics of the Great Forge.
Thank you for allowing us to visit. It's very kind.
We cannot descend.
Can we?
Perhaps, if the Great Forge will allow or accept you.
Let's,
we cannot descend.
You say that almost automatically.
Guys.
It's...
As you are responding to them, you hear once more, "Help me." It's louder now. And it does appear to be, you feel the vibrations almost beneath your feet.
I'm hearing a voice in my head from, I think, inside the elevator.
Does it ask for aid?
Yes.
Then perhaps you have been accepted.
Terrifying. Okay.
My lord. And they nod to Vizier and start to usher him out.
Bye, Vizier.
Vizier kind of over their shoulders just, I will await you outside.
Okay.
And as they depart, the door shuts, and you are left alone in a dimly lit room.
Okay.
Do we just
Looks
step
like we're
in-
going down.
do we step inside the doors?
Oh no, you're in the elevator.
Oh. Okay. Can I see any controls? Something I could push, twist,
Roll me an investigation check.
interact with, poke, prod, make friends with? My dice love me today. 25. Oh, I've got advantage. I mean, that was a natural 20. I don't know why I rolled it in the first place for the advantage, because I can't do better.
No.
It's a weird choice.
Okay. As you look around then, the room, or the walls are almost completely smooth. Apart from just inside the door, where there are what appear to be crystals set in a certain pattern. They go from large crystal all the way down to small, just descending in a straight line. Each of the crystals looks like it may be a different colour. Would probably be more evident if they were glowing. However, they do not currently appear to have any power to them.
No power.
No power.
Okay, can I see whether there would be a control board, something that might provide power to the crystals? Otherwise, I'm just going to zap them with electricity, which seems risky.
They are fixed against the wall. The wall appears to be a completely smooth panel of metal. The panel of metal itself is about 20 feet by 20 feet. No seams.
I'm going to take a little spark of electricity. Not a lot, a little spark.
Okay.
Carefully. And I'm just going to touch a finger to one of the crystals. The lowest one.
The lowest one.
That seems logical, right? If we're going to go down, the lowest one is... It seems logical.
Okay. How are you enacting this electricity?
Well, so first I'll use an action to change back into infiltrator armor.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will have to use my lightning launcher, but at a very, very low level.
Okay.
No. Rather than using the lightning launcher, I will use the lightning launcher to activate my protective field.
Okay.
I will then use the little spark of electricity that runs over my armor to touch the crystal. Rather than using the lightning launcher to shove a full bolt into it, because that seems dangerous.
Okay. Still 1d6 plus 5.
Yeah, but it's the lightning launcher. Actually, I think there might be more.
No, protective field lightning, 1d6 plus 5 is the same as the launcher.
No, the launcher is 1d6 plus 5.
Commit a murder.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I'll try it.
Go for it. Roll me 1d6 plus 5.
Quite a lot of lightning. Oh! 6.
6 in total?
The lowest I could have rolled.
Okay. That's fine. As you touch, then, the bottommost crystal, it immediately begins to glow blue. The glow appears to slightly emanate to the next crystal up, but it mainly focuses on this one. A second later, there is a horrendous grinding of metal, as if hinges, gears, cogs that have not moved in a century and have not been oiled in their motion suddenly begin to move again. With a lurch, the ground almost falls from beneath you, but then, much more steadily, the entire room you are in begins to descend. Not as quick as the lift you were in Vizier's tower, but it does begin to pick up speed. You suddenly hear, unable to tell how far you've travelled, you begin to hear a rattling of metal at different points around the lift, on the outside of the room. There is a horrendous tearing sound, a bang. You feel an impact against one of the walls, and the room begins to move faster.
Okay.
You feel as if one of the gears, perhaps controlling the descent of the lift, has sheared. The rattling sound from the other gears begins to grow louder. The room begins to shudder, and it is moving very quickly. You are starting to experience a sensation of floating. As the floor below you starts to fall away from your feet.
Yeah, well, this was unexpected.
Another explosion, another gear falls. The room begins to fall faster.
Great.
What would you like to do?
Panic.
Okay.
No.
It's a free action to cry, remember.
We don't need to.
I mean, two of us can jump up and fly. It's the other two I'm worried about.
Yeah, but even then we'd hit the ceiling as it's the speed it's moving right now. That wouldn't help.
I have got Featherfall.
Let me try something weird first. If that doesn't work, we'll use Featherfall. Is that okay? Hopefully we have time. I'm going to cast Rope Trick. I haven't used it for a while. I want to see if the rope stays static in the falling room, or if the extra dimensional space moves and the rope goes through the ceiling and we lose it.
Okay. Hang on.
Dice is determining the physics of the room.
Yeah.
Briar is also determining what he wants the physics of the room to be.
No,
Wait, specific.
Bry is once more looking at Millie after presenting a problem
A puzzle.
and wondering whether they've decided I'm going to use a utility spell and fix everything again. Right, hang on.
This is why you're marrying her. Among other things.
I mean, if nothing else, we can climb into the rope box, wait till it passes through the ceiling, and then use Featherfall to come down the inside of the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
You broke it, Mill.
This is the turmoil in Bry's face.
Yeah, ironically, Tony, I can do it. Why am I still hopping his dice? I can do it in this game, but for some reason, on Mondays, my brain leaks out of my ears and I immediately go, boy. I don't know how to play games. Yeah, I do. Use all my smarts on Sundays.
As you throw the rope into the air, it rises up, appears to almost touch the roof of the ceiling of the room as it plummets, and stops, carried with the descending elevator.
Everybody up. Rev, I know you haven't seen this before. Just climb up the rope and go through the invisible door. You're muted.
I'm not asking questions.
Okay.
I'm going up the rope.
I just fly on up in.
Yeah, I'm going to fly up instead of climbing the rope.
Okay. So, as you get into the extra-dimensional space, the familiar to all of you but yourself, Reverend, you can hear much quieter now the rattling and the scraping of the lift as it descends. You can hear a much more muffled version of the explosions as even more of the brakes begin to break or just shatter and fly off from their moorings. And it is with an almighty crash that all of the sounds stop. And you are all completely unharmed.
High five dice.
I high five back.
We're safe and sound in our own pocket dimension.
Yeah, we're just hanging out in here. So I'm going to stick my head out and see how destroyed the area is around.
Okay. As you stick your head out, then there is a huge layer of dust and smoke that you just kind of cough your way through. But as it begins to dissipate, you notice that the lift you were in, the ceiling has caved in on itself. The walls have been torn almost completely off on some sections. Where the portal was is no longer there. However, you can see a dimly lit corridor, which lights flash on and off, with no sequence, leading away from the room you're in.
Knows how we're going to get back out, but we're alive.
I mean, two of us can fly out.
I mean, sure, but we can't really leave everyone else down here.
No, I know.
Yeah, can we see up the lift shaft?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay.
There is a pinprick of light at the top.
That's fine. Okay. So, shall we go for a walk?
Well, there's only one way to go.
We're here now. and we'll start thundering.
As you begin to make your way then through the debris of the fallen lift and into the room, the walls, ceiling, and floor are perfectly symmetrical, regimented sections of metal. There are panels. What look like glass was covering them. From a few where the glass is not broken, the lights do flicker. But from the ones that are broken, no light emanates. So it is dim light down here. There are pockets of darkness, but you can see no doors, and the corridor carries on for a while. Everyone roll me a perception check.
Can it be as good as all of my perception checks today? No! No, it cannot.
Are we? Is it based on vision sight?
Yeah.
15.
15 as well.
18.
18.
7.
Okay. As you look down the corridor, have you got dark vision? Leonie got dark vision, right?
Not a fucking clue.
Hang on. I'll have a look.
Probably they're a cat.
Yeah, but sometimes cat shapeshifts
It's
don't
not
know.
always that logical.
I think
Yeah,
they
dark
should.
vision. I think I've got dark vision because of the robe I'm wearing. 120 feet.
Cool. Okay. With your dark vision, then being able to see further than most of your party, you stay down the corridor and you can see, after maybe a couple of minutes of walking, that it does branch off, or it becomes like a T-junction.
Got dark vision for 120 feet as well.
Do you?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Then that's fine. You both see this. Reverend,
Mm-hmm.
you notice, as you are moving, one of the shadows move. It might have been a trick of the light, but the shadow is gone.
I will pull out bad news and prepare to fire. And I'll just movement up ahead.
Dice,
Yep.
you feel the buzz from the metal around you as much louder now, much clearer, but still very tinny, almost like an automaton speaking to you. Help me.
Where are you? I'm going to say it to a metal panel in front of me. I'm aware that I look like a psychopath doing it, so I'll look at them and be like, where are you?
There is no response.
I
Apart
tap on
from
the
there
panel?
is a loud, resounding series of clicks and clacks that seems to come closer and closer to you. And as it gets closer to you, all of the lights that still work begin to brighten as the sound clicks. And the closer and closer it gets, the lights nearer to you begin to brighten before they all dim again. Suddenly, in a klaxon sound, and this is strange for all of you, from speakers coming from everywhere. Ace, in common and also in the Kimrian tongue that your father taught you. Dice, in Shalem. Oriana, in fluent Infernal. And what is your natural languages?
Leonin and I would assume Gratian.
Okay.
In common,
And
obviously.
in Leonin, you all hear power sub optimal, primary purpose prioritized.
I don't know. I'm going to say that out loud.
What is their primary purpose?
What's your primary purpose? I'm going to knock on the metal panel next to me. Hello? What's your primary purpose?
As it starts to click and clack again and the power rushes up the corridor towards you, the lights flare on. The panel you were touching turns black. Lights start to play over it. And a bright light in a line scans up and down you. Identity database, secondary system. Power suboptimal. All power diverted to primary purpose. Identity could not be determined.
I think that means it might try to kill us.
Surely it
Okay.
wouldn't have power for that.
Secondary defense mechanisms, secondary system. All power diverted to primary purpose.
Define primary purpose.
It won't tell us because it doesn't know who we are.
Should we give it a name that it might know?
I don't know what its name would be.
I don't know.
No, I mean,
It wouldn't be able to verify
Okay,
if we
okay.
told it who we can't. It can't do identity. Sounds like.
What if we go and find... There's got to be like a main center, right? Something we can interact with, maybe? And
It's
maybe
more
then
your speed than mine, Dice.
I am not sure it is. This is so far beyond my speed, I don't even know what my speed looks like. I feel like a snail. That's... Well, the light's coming from this corridor this way, right? So let's walk down the corridor and see if we can find
one of the only times I'll encourage you to go into the light.
right? Let's see if it can tell us. Locate brain room.
The panel flickers and then turns opaque once more and looks exactly the same as all the other panels again.
Maybe that's not what they call it. I don't know what you call where your head lives. Okay. I'm going to walk down the corridor, but I'm going to hold Oriana's hand as I'm going. Like, just sort of reach back and grab it as I'm like, I don't like it.
Okay.
Oh, you think I like it any better?
No.
Are you moving normally, stealthily? What you doing?
Normally, I haven't seen anything that's outright a threat, so...
Okay.
Normally?
It's mentioned defense, but it hasn't shown any malice just yet.
Well, it said it was a secondary system and defense wasn't an option, so... Yeah.
As you make your way further down the corridor, then you eventually get to the T-junction. A few more cycles of the lights rushing towards you, the loud click-clack sounds as it cycles around. Does pass over. No more announcements. No more voices from the walls. The left-hand turn is, however, unfortunately completely blocked off. When you turn and see the damage, it looks as if something has physically melted the walls. So they have poured down and formed a solid, almost burnt and bubbling black wall, completely cutting off the left-hand turn.
Does it look like it's been shot by something? It's had damage done to it? Or just that it's organically melted?
Roll an investigation check.
I have advantage on those. 16?
16? Okay.
Yeah.
As you move up to it then, you realise that only part of what you are seeing is metal. The rest of it, though it looks like burnt, blackened metal, is actually soft to the touch. And as you press your hand against it, when it comes away, it is sticky. And there is a sticky, like glue-like residue left on your fingers.
Glue-like residue, not like a flesh-like residue, right? Okay, don't touch that, it's sticky. And I'm trying to wipe it off on my arm. And then I'm going to stop for a second and go, oh yeah, and cast Prestidigitation for the first time on myself. Because I got it as my last cantrip and I'm excited.
Okay.
About time.
Sleepy baby. Sorry. Yeah, and then I'll walk down the corridor the other way.
Okay.
Away from the sticky wall.
Okay. You make your way to the right then. It is a very short corridor, immediately turns again to the left, so you're moving effectively, heading in exactly the same direction, straight away from the lift area. Halfway down this corridor, there is a door to the right, which is broken, and it appears that rocks have filled in the room beyond it. To the left, though, it is a somewhat more brightly lit room than the rest of the area. The doors are glass, so you can see into it, but...
Can I open the door?
As you step towards it, it goes to move, but then stops with maybe a 3-inch gap between the two glass panels.
Ace, you're super strong. Do you think you could push these open?
I can try.
Because let's be honest, I'm actually weak as hell.
Do you need me to roll for that?
Yeah, make a strength check for me.
Okay.
With advantage if anyone wants to help.
I'll stay at help.
Okay. While this is going on, Oriana, Reverend, what are you doing?
I'm just sort of hanging back. I think I'm
Yeah.
watching and observing, keeping gun at the ready.
Both of you roll me a perception check.
I don't think I need assistance on that one because that's going to be a 30.
27 on perception.
A dirty 20.
Cool. Okay. As then, not even needing Dice's help, but still obviously nodding in appreciation as if you couldn't have done it without them. You do very easily force both the glass panels open. They slide back with an audible like thunk, which kind of reverberates then down the corridor. And looking in two opposite directions, just at the edge of both of your dark vision, Reverend Oriana, you see again a shadow move.
Seeing that, right?
Reverend?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing it.
What are you seeing?
Seeing what? Yeah.
Little movement of a head.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check it out. You stay here.
I don't love that.
I'll call. I
Right
can call
behind
you
you.
from a distance. It's
Okay, yeah, take Reverend, if you're happy to go with Ariana, that would be more comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go walk to where I saw the shadow move.
Okay. So you both make your way up then. Give me a moment. Okay. As you get to the end of the corridor, back where you came, you get to the corner. Both of you make me a perception check.
13.
23.
Jesus Christ.
You then, Oriana, are caught completely unawares, but you are not, Reverend, as out of the shadows leaps a strange, almost jellyfish-like creature. Its top side completely bulbous and smooth like a jellyfish. Its underside rings and rings and rings of large teeth. It is about a foot across, and it leaps through the air straight towards Oriana's face.
I'm not a fan of that one.
I do a dex save against it?
You cannot. However, I'm going to need to roll off with initiative against the Reverend.
Okay. I rolled a natural 1.
Okay.
So I think you're going to beat me.
Nope. So did they.
Okay, well I have +5 to deck. So I presume that my initiative score is 6 then.
Yep, they've got +2.
Hey!
So you win.
Correct.
With a nat 1, you win.
What do you want to do?
I mean, I'm going to fire at it.
Okay.
I've got bad news out, which isn't the gun I would choose at this range.
Okay. Go for it. It's about 10 feet away from you, so you're...
Yeah, you
You're
said
not
it
at disadvantage.
leapt onto... Yeah, you said that it leapt onto Ariana's face.
It's leaping towards Oriana's face.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, was it there already?
No. It's about 5 feet away from Oriana, it's 10 feet away from you.
How big did it look, did you say?
About a foot across.
About a foot across.
It's like a big,
Okay,
roughly circular jellyfish.
and what's the sort of dimensions of this corridor we're in?
15 feet tall, 20 feet across.
Oh, this is going to be loud then.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 22 to hit it.
Definitely hits.
I had a feeling. D12. 2d12 is 15 plus 5, 20 damage.
20 damage? Okay.
With my second attack, I'll reload. And is it alive?
No. As
Okay.
your bullet passes through it, it explodes in midair just before it reaches Oriana. However,
Yeah.
as the
I
blood
knew there was going to be a however.
splatters out from
I
it,
just had a feeling.
as the blood splatters out from it, Oriana, I need you to make me a dex saving throw.
15?
15?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With the subtle warning of bad news going off right next to your face, and the explosion and the loud ringing, you do jerk back just in time to avoid the splash of fluid that comes from this creature exploding in midair. You,
Oh, gross.
at first, think happy that you're not covered in weird ick from a subterranean creature, until you look down at the floor and see holes begin to burn into the metal ground from where its blood and ichor landed.
Okay, so these things are acidic. We should probably let Dice know that she needs to stop touching random fluids.
In general, I agree, yeah.
Do you think that's what we saw moving?
I don't know. Was it about the same dimensions as the movement I saw, the shadows I saw moving before, Bray?
Yes, it's a very, the colouring of it is a dark purple, almost black. So from that distance would easily look like a shadow just shifting.
Yeah, I'd say it must have been.
Well, let's head back to the guys and warn them of the bitey jelly acid things.
Sounds like a good idea.
So you head back. While all this is going on then, a bit of timey-wimey stuff, before the loud explosion of bad news happens, Dice, after watching your friends wander off up the corridor, you look into the room that you've just opened.
Mm-hmm.
There are stretching back maybe 100 feet. The room itself is 100 feet by 100 feet. Past the initial bank of instruments you can see in front of you, lines and lines and lines of Warforged. Every single one of them is deactivated. Some of them are missing limbs as if partially constructed. You can see then hanging from many different machines that are coming out of the ceiling, out of the walls, many other parts. There are lines and lines of spares. There are boxes off in the distance that you can only imagine, again, are filled with parts. And then on the right in front of you are 3 tables on which 3 automatons are laying. They are fully constructed. Their chests are open. And they appear to be having their inner workings worked on by, and you can see some machines like hooked arms that are coming over that have just stopped in mid-assembly.
It's not what I expected. This, yeah. This is not what I expected. But this is also, I think, not the room we are looking for. We need something that has the control systems for these machines.
Yeah,
This
this
doesn't-
seems like just assembly.
Like a production room, right?
Mm.
So we need to find the room where the controls come from. The instructions for the machines. We should, I guess, head back out into the corridor and find the next room.
Sounds good to me.
As this happens, there is a almighty bang, familiar now, as you've seen the Reverend use their weapons quite a few times, and a flash of light comes as bad news is shot much further up the corridor.
Yes, I'll start running.
Okay.
Yeah. Gonna heed to where they are.
You meet each other halfway then?
Meet me halfway.
Dice, don't go touching any more weird liquids. We've just been attacked by a acid jelly thing with teeth.
Sounds delightful.
A what?
It was like this big, and it was like this shape, and it had teeth, and it was acidic.
Teeth.
Big pointed teeth.
Okay. Noted, I guess. We found the room where automatons are made, but not
Sweet.
the room where the instructions come from, I think.
Okay, well, let's keep going then.
Are there any signs on the hallways at all? Like, even in a language that I wouldn't understand necessarily, is there anything?
As you walk back down the corridor, and you get to where... Oh, okay. Educated in Nidum. This could come in handy.
Yes.
As you get back to the room with the automatons then and search around, there does appear to be an unfamiliar language almost painted or stamped onto the metal above the door.
Okay. Can I make an attempt to understand what it might be trying to communicate?
Roll me an intelligence check.
Yay, my favourite checks. Don't let me down. 17?
17.
Yes.
Okay. You would imagine whatever the builders of this place, whatever their name for the Warforged, for the automatons, whatever their name for it, was part of the writing above. And intuiting from what was going on in the room, you'd imagine the rest of it said probably assembly area, factory, that kind of thing. You would need more examples of the writing to be able to start to extrapolate a language.
What language it is?
It is not familiar to any of you.
Okay.
Really foreign.
until click, 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 and the lights begin to flash again. And as they pass over the room, the doorway lights up. The doors close automatically. And above it, in Shalem, in Cimbrian, in Leonin, and Infernal, the writing now shines, just lifted off the metal panel in see-through letters. Automaton Assembly Area.
So, now we know. Is it trying to help us?
It's an efficient wee place with
The light dims.
all of
The words disappear.
translations.
Yeah, sure, but is it magic or something else?
I'm not seeing any spirits or anything around here, no.
Have you turned on Eyes of the Grave?
I mean, I would, but you still haven't homebrewed it for me.
Okay. I apologize. We
Big
will...
bird.
Have I not?
I haven't got it in my spells list.
Hang on.
Must have got Eyes of the Grave.
Hang a dang. It's not in your spells list. It should be a feat. Features and traits. One that I made for you. Don't listen to me. I didn't finish it. Okay, cool. So you activate it.
Yep.
All at once, you are surrounded by spirits. They are walking up and down through you, completely ignorant of your presence. They are humanoid, but like no humanoids you have ever seen. You have, however, seen an animal that is similar, or at least a picture of one. Walking past you, going into the assembly area, going through the blocked off door that you cannot access the room through, you see, walking on their two hind legs, in what appear to be, at a guess, military uniforms. Hippopotamus and elephants. They're humanoid, about 7 feet tall. But you see them like talking to each other. One is reading from a clipboard. The other is carrying the same kind of weapon that the two Warforged guards of Vizier were carrying.
Okay, this place is super haunted.
Oh yeah?
They are completely ignorant of your presence.
They don't know, well, they're not aware that we're here, or they don't care that we're here.
So the
Two
people.
of them are, well, no, sort of. Two of them look like upright, like an elephant and a hippo.
All of them. So say right now in the corridor, there are maybe 15 figures visible.
Oh, they're all either hippos or
there
elephants.
are about 9 hippos, 6 elephants.
Yeah, they're either elephants or hippos, and they're walking upright, and they're in like military uniforms. I sort of describe what they're wearing.
I look at Oriana as though she has lost the plot.
I haven't taken anything today.
Elephants and hippos?
Yeah.
Elephants and hippos.
Yes.
How big
And
are
we
they?
got it. Yeah.
Like
question.
the Egyptian gods.
What, like humanoid with the head of the creature?
They've got the form of them as well. They're quite rotund.
Wait, isn't the hippo one the passenger of the dead? That doesn't feel comforting to me.
No, she's a goddess of fertility. Don't listen to Moon Knight.
Okay. All right. Fine. Okay.
Oriana, you have inspiration.
Do either of them look sort of captainy? Do any of them look sort of a bit more senior than others? And are they heading in a particular direction?
I start looking around to see if I can spot anyone that looks like that.
Okay.
What the hell skill do you roll to work out which elephant is in charge around here?
Whoever's got the fancier
All
looking
right.
outfit.
No. Roll me an intelligence check. Based on the military you've seen, you're gonna make your deliberation based on military you've seen, which is your only frame of reference.
It's 15.
Okay. There appear to be a pair who are walking with more purpose, with what you would say are more insignia, like more pips on their shoulder kind of thing. And they are walking very deliberately away from you, and the other spirits appear to be moving out of their way to allow them to pass.
I just start following them.
Okay.
I can't remember how long this thing lasts, but I'll be able to see them.
Okay.
It will fully jog after you.
It lasts an hour unless you turn it off.
Okay. I still just carry on following them. I sort of just casually wave to follow me.
Okay. As you move then with them, catch up with them, you can't understand any of the speech. They seem to be not grunting. There is a language, but it is guttural. It is deep, and it appears to be almost as if they're having an argument. But you would also imagine this is what it would sound like if an elephant and a hippopotamus were having an argument in the wild. Until they immediately turn off to a door that is broken, but you can see darkness beyond it.
They've gone through there.
They both come back out. They are now no longer carrying clipboards. They are both armed. They both have those rifles.
I just relay this all back all the time. I'm giving commentary on what's happening.
Okay.
Clack, 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 clack. The lights start to rush up the corridor again. Writing above the door. Armory.
That makes sense.
It's not what we're looking for, though, is it?
I mean, we can keep following them.
Yeah. I mean, at some point they've got to go somewhere, I guess.
Okay.
Um.
So you keep following them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You continue to make your way further and further down the corridor. A lot of the corridor begins to branch off. There are many more branches, almost as if the further in you're getting, the more centralized it becomes, and the more branches are needed to get to other sections of whatever this construction is below ground. Almost all of the doorways to the left and the right are completely blocked off by the same black, burnt, charred, bubbling metal that you've seen previously. The closer and closer, or the further and further down the corridor you get, you start to hear a hum.
Is it a distant hum?
It is a distant hum. It begins to pulse.
There's doors that are like rusted shut, essentially.
No, it's almost as if the entire corridor has been completely covered over by a wall of this black, bubbling, fleshy metal.
Hmm.
But as you continue, the hum gets louder. The pulse does not quicken. But you do see then the end to the corridor. There is a massive large door. The two spirits move straight through it. There is, however, another large door immediately to its left, and the one immediately to its right.
Have I seen which way the spirits went?
They went straight on through the big door at the end of the corridor.
And is that one shut? Sealed shut?
It is currently sealed shut, yeah.
Do you want me to try burning it?
Worth a try, right? Maybe we stand back.
Always a good idea.
Yeah, I don't want to have it explode in our faces.
I'm gonna.
Or, I mean, I could try putting acid on it. I could try just setting it on fire.
I'm gonna prepare a shot in case something goes very wrong when Oriana does that.
Clack, 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 clack. As you're standing there, the doorway or the glass panels around the doorways light up. And as you're too far away from the central one you're looking at, it doesn't open. But in your array, the one to the left and the one to the right opens. The one to the left, the writing above it, says Command Center in all of your respective languages. The one to the right says Reactor.
Blech.
Hmm.
It's a reactor.
What a reactor is, but I'm thinking nothing good, maybe? Well,
I'm
come
guessing
on.
it's not just a room that reacts to whatever you do.
Probably not.
Okay.
I wouldn't know. Command center seems
Promising.
more understandable.
I mean, we're looking for the thing that controls the machinery, right? So maybe command
Can't hurt
center.
to look.
Worth a try. The door's open, yeah? Richard, the door's open, yeah?
The door's open, yes. The lights inside both rooms, well, the lights inside the room to Command Center are flickering. You can see desks, strange panels just rising from the desk and just kind of sitting there separately to everything else. Through the door to Reactor, there is another long corridor. But as you start to hear the clicks and clacks again, they seem to emanate from the door, from the corridor, and then spread to the rest of the structure.
I'm going to stick my head in through the door of the command center and see if anything immediately tries to eat my brain.
Okay. Roll me a perception check.
All they want to do is eat your brain.
But I don't want that. Oh, 26!
26. Okay. You look around. There does not appear to be anything inside. Anything waiting to eat your brain, anyway. There are, however, skeletons.
Oh. Are they rhinoceros-y shaped skeletons? I'll go in.
Or hippo and elephant?
Mm-hmm.
As you enter and take a closer look at some of the skeletons in the dim light, they are large, they're huge. The bone structure is massive and completely alien to you. However, having seen animal skulls before, you would imagine that these are the bodies, or at least some of the bodies, of the spirits that Oriana has described. Some of the bones are missing. Some of the bones show pockmarked kind of charring, as if they've been burnt. There are rags, threads of uniforms left. You do, however, find one what appears to be rifle.
Hey, Rev, I feel like this is more your thing than it would be mine.
I will take it and have a look over it.
Okay. Roll me an investigation check with advantage.
The advantage probably won't help. Oh, that's an 8.
An 8.
Yeah, I rolled an 8 and a 7. I have a +0.
Okay, cool. As you are looking over it then, again, you click a button where your thumb depresses into the side. Being careful to stay away from the trigger, but even as you're holding it, your thumb depresses into the side. And the metal seems to bend. It feels metallic, it feels cold under your touch, but the metal seems to bend almost like rubber, or like pressing your thumb into someone's skin. There is a click, and from the bottom of the rifle, around about the center, a large rectangular box object slides out. At the top of the box, as you catch it in your hand, it is glowing. It's pulsing with a green energy.
I don't know if I like this.
You could not see the green energy when the box was inside the rifle.
I honestly have no idea, Rev. I'm sorry. This is out of my area of any kind of expertise.
Really, this seems like exactly your kind of thing.
I mean, sure, but this looks like a weapon. I can have a look and try and figure it out.
Bright, when I look at this thing, like, I rolled an 8, so you don't have to answer this question.
Okay.
But like, how familiar is it in sort of how comparable is it to Bad News?
It's about the same length as Bad News. The weight is similar. As you kind of heft it to your shoulder, it's got the same exact feel. This is almost definitely a rifle, meant to be fired in the same fashion as you would Bad News or other similar hunting rifles that you've made or seen on your way to eventually creating Bad News. Other than that,
Okay, is there anything here that, like, I don't know, a can, something that I can shoot at that looks destructible but not important?
there are on quite a few desks cups. Apart from the bodies littering around, now that you kind of glance around the room, they literally could have just stepped out of the room. Everything is covered in dust, but everything is still there. The nearest cup to you, in fact, still has a sticky residue at the bottom, as if whatever was in it has taken a long time to evaporate in these conditions.
I'm gonna pop the glowing green box back into the rifle, that as far away as I can from everybody else, and take aim at one of those cups.
Okay.
And fire the thing.
Roll to hit, using the same bonuses as you get for any of your firearms.
Okay. That would be 24.
Cool. Roll 6d8.
Holy cow, that's quite big.
D8. 6d8. That's 5. Huh, I had 68 on my desk already, isn't it? 8, 14, 20, 25, 29, 32.
Cool. The cup and part of the desk it was on, the strange, almost transparent panel that was standing up from the center of the desk, is almost completely obliterated in a flash of green energy. It is an energy that is familiar to you. You do 32 points of necrotic damage to the cup, the table, and the screen.
How does it feel? Like, do I get a lot of recoil out of it? Is it like,
Not at all.
oh, that was peculiar.
However, it does beep, and the box that you placed back into the bottom of it ejects, and it is no longer glowing.
Yeah, of course you won't. Yes.
There's no reason you couldn't pick up more ammunition for it.
Well, mayhap.
You find an amber box or a weapon crate.
Yes.
Would that ammunition not work in your gun?
I don't know where it would go in.
Oh. I don't know. I just assumed it was a universal thing.
No, there's nowhere to. I just sort of bash the little formerly glowing green box against bad news. Not really compatible.
It's interesting, though. It looked useful.
It felt I'm used to getting a little feedback when I shoot, you know. That was kind of just like casting a spell.
I was going to say good odd, bad odd, or just odd.
Yes, no. I'm not sure I have the happiest associations with green glowing bolts of energy.
It depends very much where it comes from.
Sort of had a kind of deathy feel to it.
That doesn't make it intrinsically bad. A tool is a tool. But that doesn't mean you have to use it. You have your own weapon. But the damage it did was significant.
Yeah, well, I ain't leaving it here. I'll
Click,
I'll
click,
bring
click,
this
click,
one
click,
along.
click, click, click. The lights in the room. The room is flooded with light. There's 3 remaining desks that have screens on them, and they flicker to life.
I will go over and look at the screens.
Okay, give me number 1, 2, or 3.
Can I roll a dice for this? Because I don't know.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I'm rolling a d6. It's a 6, so 3.
Okay, cool. You look at the third one. It is power input and output.
Okay.
The power output is at 100%. The power input is flashing, and it is at 10%.
Okay.
The readings at the bottom confirm that because the input is not enough, all remaining power that it can derive from the solar panels above is being fed to the primary purpose.
I still don't know what the primary purpose is, but okay. Alright, what does screen 2 say?
As you go to look, the screens turn off.
Okay. I'm going to have a look in the other room, see if it means anything, if I can figure out anything. I don't know.
The main doors, unfortunately, are now without power. Are you going to go back to Oriana's idea of trying to burn through it?
Is there any way to jimmy something between the doors and like lever them?
Yeah, you've all got like daggers and swords and stuff. I'm sure you could find a way to jimmy something between the doors.
Ari, is it okay if we try and leave them open before we try and set them on fire?
Yeah. It was just a suggestion. Go for it.
These doors are much larger and heavier than any you've seen so far.
Give it a go.
Okay. So you easily jimmy something between the doors. Who wants to
Yeah.
make the strength check?
I'll give it a go.
Ace.
Does anyone want to help?
Yes. I'll help.
So with advantage, Ace.
You haven't put my D20 away because Moch is like, I want that in my mouth.
No.
Okay, I will go with the first one, which was 14, which is, and then it's a plus D? No, 13. There we go. So
No, it's the strength bonus.
bonus.
It's the plus symbol. So you get
Oh
your
yeah,
strength.
plus 8. Sorry. Yeah. Never mind. Plus 8. Okay. So, what did I say? 14. So it'd be 22.
22?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is a lot harder than it was with the glass doors. There is an almighty resounding grinding noise. But after much straining, and with a little help from Dice, as Oriana and the Reverend scan the corridor behind you, you do eventually manage to jimmy the doors open. At least enough for you to pass through.
Is there anything on the other side of the door or where we were that we can like wedge so it doesn't slam on us?
There's quite a few loose bits of metal from fallen panels you could probably wedge between it, yeah.
Using combined knowledge from me and Dice on metals, what do we reckon is going to be the most structurally integral piece that we can get?
Probably the immovable rod that one of you still has.
Yeah, I've got that. That would make perfect sense.
I'm
Yep.
just throwing that out there, sorry.
Putting that out there. That's in your bag of holding.
You
We
have
haven't used it.
you have specifically used the rods to hold a door closed once. So it's,
True, yeah. Hey, Dice, you have the bag of holding, right?
Hit you with complete blankness. Yes.
A movable rod?
Oh, yeah, sure. Here you go. And I'll just hand it over.
Yeah. I'm going to wedge it in the door so that it doesn't slam on us whilst we go to the other side.
no problem at all. As you do so, you activate the rod. The rod just hangs there in midair, and you hope that the weight of these doors the weight of these doors is not too much to counteract the rod.
Immovable is in the name. It shouldn't move.
There's a tonnage. There is a certain tonnage.
Well, that's a misnomer then, isn't it?
But yes, you pass into the room. It is still dimly lit inside. As you look around it, it is a quite wide open space, very circular, until it gets to a flat section of wall almost directly opposite you that appears to be almost entirely made of glass. Inside the glass, all you can see is a swirling mist. However, inside the glass is lit. The glass itself is lit, and the portal around it, or the metal around it, is glowing, pulsing, in the same rhythm as the pulsing sound you can hear. There is no power failure to this section of the room. This appears to be the primary purpose. You hear, Dice, in your mind, help me.
Buddy, I am trying. If you would give us some more information, our lives would be a lot simpler.
And in the mist, you see a shadowy humanoid figure.
Blam!
Blam.
No blam of the thing.
On the front of the glass, there is a handle. attached to that handle is a gargantuan metal hand and a forearm that has been ripped off at the elbow. It's still holding the handle on the front of the glass in the center of the glass panel. Across the room from it is a large, hulking metal figure. It's about maybe 15 feet tall and wide. It's missing its forearm. And it also has what looks like a helmet or a hatch that is open at the top. And you can just make out in the dim light, Dice, a seat. But it is collapsed in on itself, and it is just laying there on the floor.
Okay. Am I going to have to climb in that to fix this? Anyone else want to have a go?
None of us could
As
fix
you're
it.
staring, there's a
I
pulse.
think this is all you.
There's a pulse of energy, and what looks like ethereal writing appears on the glass panel before disappearing.
Do I manage to translate any of it before it disappears?
You're a bit too far away. It's
Okay,
about 60 feet away.
I'll go right up to it and see if I can read the writing, if it appears again.
Okay. As you go up to it, then roll me a perception check.
I've done that a lot today. Well, that was the wrong dice, but it's fine. 21.
Okay. You can hear from inside what sounds like footsteps, very faintly through the glass. But they seem to echo. And as the footsteps echo and skitter, they seem to reverberate around you, and you look around the room. And as it's brightly lit from this glass panel, you can't see anything, but you feel like the footsteps are everywhere. But as you look back at the panel, it does light up again. And on the glass panel, it says, biosignature required. And it's got a very large, three-fingered hand print on the front of it.
Okay, it says biosignature required. I assume bio means, like, animal, creature, alive. But it's only got 3 fingers. Like, if I stick my hand on here, is it going to blow up because I have the wrong number of fingers?
We didn't
So
see
the skeletons that we saw have 3 fingers,
Yes, they
have
did.
3 digits. Could one of the skeleton hands work? I don't know.
Well, maybe the worst that happens is it'll just reject it. It says it's got no power for secondary defense purposes, so it's not going to blow us up, I don't think. And I'm just going to go like that and stick my hand on it.
Okay.
And this is where dice dies. It's very sad.
again.
Again.
Okay.
Thank you, Em. Jeez.
You stick your hand on the panel.
Reference that.
All at once, the pulsing energy surges straight across the glass and lights up a circle around your hand. You hear a voice. Thank you.
Fucking what?
Roll me a strength saving throw with disadvantage because of how close you are.
Okay. You try to do the right thing.
You free a demon.
Free a demon. Oh, wow. Those rolls could not have been worse. Yeah, that's a 3.
A 3.
3 total.
Okay. I haven't got enough d6 for this. Hang on.
Oh my god. That's not a thing to say, Bri.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Is it a d6 per 10 feet, Greg?
Yes.
Falling, not throwing.
Up to a maximum of
Yeah, it's only the
up,
room. The
up to a
room.
maximum of 200 feet.
It's fine. The room's only 60 feet across.
Okay.
Cool. So, many things happen at once. The glass in front of you explodes. The force of the explosion is so great you are flung across the room into one of the internal metal walls. And you hit the wall hard and impact down next to the large metal construct that you saw. You take 10, 16, 22, 24. You take 26 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oof.
That's fine.
Many
I
things.
don't feel fine about it.
Many things happen at once. As you've all passed into the room, regardless of the immovable rod that has been positioned to keep the doors open, you look behind you as a pulsing blue energy field surrounds the room, cutting off all exits, all doors, all windows. The mist begins to fall out of the doorway. You hear two thundering footsteps as out of the mist, two large, chitinous, insectoid black hands grasp the walls as they begin to pull something, a large, shadowy humanoid figure, out of the mist. You also hear...
Right, earlier I did say that I was preparing a shot.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Give me a second now.
Yeah.
From all around you, you look up. You see broken air vents. Holes in the metal that have been pushed, clawed, chewed through. And you start to see shadowy figures pour out of them. Large, some the size of dogs, some the size of gorillas, one the size of an owlbear, because it's always an owlbear.
Yeah, I don't want it.
So these holes, were they there before? These holes, were they there before?
No, they're literally being made as we speak.
Right, okay.
Yeah. However, you can take your shot. What are you going to shoot?
So there's the two big insects are pulling forth what now?
Okay, there are currently 4 dog-sized, large, black, dripping, chitinous insectoid creatures coming out of holes in the air vents and the walls. There is one gorilla-sized, there is one owlbear-sized, and there is one whose hands are as big as you are, pulling itself out of the now uncovered
Cool.
green mist.
Well, I'm going to shoot that one.
You shoot the big-ass one?
Yeah, the big ass.
Okay, you're going to fire blindly into the mist. You can see its shadow, I suppose.
Blindly?
I wouldn't say... Alright, no disadvantage.
You just told me I could see it.
You can see its form through
yeah.
the mist.
I'm going to Channel Divinity Guided Strike.
Okay.
Give myself +10. And I'm going to take whatever the marksman thing is that does -10 on the roll plus -5 on the roll plus 10 damage, is it?
Give me a second, and I will make absolutely certain for you. Bum, 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 bum. It is very difficult to find because it's not an official source, but I've got one. Give me a second, I've got one in my characters.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a moment. Who do I need to find? Carter. There he is. That'll give me it.
Boy.
Carter's a level 20 gunslinger. He knows.
He knows.
Dun, 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 dun.
Sharpshooter, that's the name of it.
Sharpshooter, no disadvantage. You say -5 to the attack, +10 to the damage.
Yeah, so it's -5, but I'm also using Guided Strike to give +10, so it's actually +5 on the attack.
Okay.
I will also use. Let's make this a. I'll make this a dazing shot.
Cool.
So here we go.
So I got to make a con save, yeah.
Well, if I hit, right?
Okay.
I just rolled a natural 4 for a total of 21.
A 21 does hit.
Yeah.
Just.
So yes,
rage.
You do need to make a con save.
It is your.
Yeah, I think it's 18 is the DC.
18. Cool. Okay. That's fine. 18. Constitution. That is going to be 20.
Yeah, that passes.
Okay.
But regardless, the damage is 14 plus 5 is 19 plus 10 is 29 damage.
Excellent. Okay. You hear a crunching impact as if you have stepped on 100 insects at once. There is a splattering noise, and out of the mist on the floor before you, you see a pool of steaming acid begin to spread. And you can see its hands grasp even tighter as it now pulls itself out of the mist. But before we ask everyone to roll initiative, we are going to leave it there for this session.
Okay.
And we're going to pick up with combat immediately next time.
Hey.
That's too much. There's too many things for this combat, right? I don't know if you've noticed. There are too many things.
Yeah, well, someone kept telling him he wasn't trying hard enough to kill us.
That guy isn't here.
Pretty sure he is.
That guy's character's gone away.
Let's get the depressing music away and let's have
New
some,
character, who dis?
Let's have some nice music. Come on, give me nice music.
I think Charlie's
Playing
gonna
nice
duck
music.
out.
Slightly better.
I am going to duck out straight away. Thank you so much, guys. I love you.
Night, Charlie.
Hey.
Bye.
Hi.
Don't turn your
So
camera
fuck
off.
up the cameras now.
Yeah, don't turn your camera off yet.
All right, very quickly
Keep
then.
the camera upside down or something, babe.
Enjoy the underside of my shelf.
Cool.
Okay.
Right, yes. Thank you, everyone who has been in chat for tonight's episode. Thank you so much. I don't know how I could have possibly described that being a bad idea better. If I turned around and said, burnt, blackened, metallic, fleshy walls, very Geiger, would that have maybe?
It did feel very Geiger when
Thank
when you were describing
Okay.
it.
But yes,
As I had said before, Ace is a thembo.
yeah.
He's not taking this into account.
Sis,
It does sound
that's
like
all-
I don't think that we have you and I have an instinct that when we see something that's very Geiger, we think some sci-fi horror shit is about to happen to us. But what would give the Reverend or Dice or Ariana a frame of reference?
Nothing.
They'd be like, oh,
Not
this
very
looks like an HR Geiger.
Which is why it's wonderful, because none of your characters have any frame of reference in this.
No, we can't even. I couldn't even use the word control room.
I know.
I had enough
I loved
problems with that.
No, that was perfect from Charlie. What does reactor mean? Ah,
Yeah.
that was wonderful.
What does reactor mean? I'm like, where's the brain
That room takes opportunity attack.
But yes,
That's what it sounded like.
That was a lot of fun for me, as I'm sure the combat will be. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Hopefully, I'll have my character back.
But we
Yes,
do have
hopefully.
small amounts of dread.
You do need to submit a trouble ticket. They've got a weird
Yeah.
thing. They have to re-invoice you, and then
Yeah, and you also you have to have a Wizards of the Coast account to submit the ticket, but you don't use your Wizards of the Coast account to sign into D&D Beyond. So it's like
You can use
how
to do it, but you can't do it with.
You can't use Twitch to submit a
Trouble ticket.
Oh, I
ticket.
mean, you
Like,
can use Twitch to sign in.
sign
Yeah.
in, yeah. Which is what I have done ever since I've had D&D Beyond. But
So-
apparently that's not good enough for their support. D&D Beyond's a bad website run
It's
by
not a
bad
bad
people.
website. Thank you very much for everything you've done so far for this campaign and our other campaigns.
Nothing.
They're not listening.
Please fix this for my friend Greg.
If they've done nothing, they will continue to do nothing. You're a bootlegger.
But yes. Anyway, we hope you guys enjoyed. We really hope everyone enjoyed. Thank you very much for the raid. Thank you to anyone who stuck around. Thank you to the new people who came in, if you're still around.
Thank you to our sponsor, Diet Coke.
Thank you to our sponsors, Loki Battlemat, Sirenscape, and Blink Dog Dice. Please join us tomorrow, both myself and Millie. We will be back again tomorrow night, same channel, around about the same time.
Same bat time, same bat place.
For episode 20?
Fucking hell, it can't be.
It's either 19 or 20.
There's no way. There's no way. You're on like episode 6.
Of-
You started that campaign like 6 weeks.
Of When Glory Is Not Enough. Also then, I think it's now like 76, 77 for tomorrow's 20. Thank you, Tony. 76, 77 of Fables Among Titans on Tuesday. Same channel, same time. I don't know whether there's going to be Carbon on Thursday, but obviously come and join the Discord. Check us out on social media, Heavyweight RPG, Heavyweight Gaming, and Dice of the Holder to find out more. Also, you can join us next Sunday for episode 90.
Yeah.
We're gonna hit. So we're gonna hit. You're gonna hit 100 soon.
Yeah, we are.
That's crazy.
Before the end of the year.
And I still like these people.
And we probably won't even level by then.
It depends if we live or not.
We leveled. You leveled last week. Oh yeah, sorry. We did it off stream. You guys have leveled. They've leveled recently. But yes, please join us next Sunday for the beginning of this fight against a completely unknown monster that no one could have any possible idea of what it might look like or what the stuff it might be able to do.
Out of character, we have a pretty good idea of what it looks like.
But
If
yes,
you have ever watched Alien.
as
I
always,
haven't actually.
take care, stay safe, look after each other, because
Drink
I
Diet
am
Coke.
still suffering from the after effects of COVID, and it has messed me up. So it is still out there. Please take care. Please take care of each other. Please look after yourselves, especially, but everyone else. We love you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.